What's going on, people? How are we? It's been a hot minute since my last video, and there's been a lot that's been happening in my life, and I thought now would be a really good time to come back on and make another video and discuss the benefit and the need to know when to switch off and to know when to not always need to be striving forward and to not always need to be achieving and excelling and pushing forward as far as you can to progress. And of course, progression and success and dedicating yourself to a project or an ideal is an admirable thing. But arguably, or even more importantly, knowing when to take your foot off the gas, knowing when to slow down, and knowing when to take time for yourself to be able to actually assess where you're at and what you're doing and whether that is actually what you want to be spending your time doing is more important. So, I mean, for me, I went through a really tough sort of 4-year period, building and growing a business, the other side of the world, away from my family. I was only 27 when I started it. Thought I knew a lot, but knew absolutely fuck all. And it was a really humbling and beneficial experience for me in many ways. But at the same time, it was extremely tough. There was, I don't say this just to, toot my own horn or anything like that, but just for explanation purposes, I probably worked about 10 years worth of work in 4 years. And it's not really even something that I'm proud of because it came at quite a lot of cost as well. But through that process, I realised that, and I stopped and thought, what am I actually doing this for? I started a business, I wanted to grow that business, and the main reason I really did it was for money. I wasn't really passionate about the business that I did. I just did it for money, and it took a massive toll on me. It was ridiculously stressful, and it was a very, very tough time. So around the time of my last video was when I actually sold the business and moved into the next chapter of my life, and I was wanting to dedicate myself to this, creating a personal brand and doing this YouTube thing. But after I sold the company, and it was a very strange experience for me because all of a sudden I no longer had that responsibility which completely dominated and took over my life. I went through some pretty big personal changes as well, so it was just a huge change. It was almost walking into a new reality. And I've always been a really driven person who needs to always be doing something, always be moving forward, always have a project, always needing to excel. And really, when I strip that back and think about it, it's just me constantly trying to reaffirm to myself that what I'm doing is worthy, what I'm doing is enough, that I am enough, that I'm in the right place in my life based on my age where I should be, that I'm excelling, that my life has meaning, that I'm doing something important. And society sucks us into this whole thing because, we leave school, we get a job, we're surrounded by successful people, famous people, we see it everywhere, people that are rich, famous, drive nice cars, have nice houses, and we just slip in and follow into that path. It's like, so we just, okay, cool, so we'll go to uni, we'll do all that, we'll climb the corporate ladder, we'll do all that, we'll work our entire life to keep earning more money, and then there's people that start businesses like myself, and we just think, right, all right, cool, we start a business. And so many of us work and own businesses that we probably, actually, if there was no money involved in it, we wouldn't give two fucks about it. So we all fall into this we all fall into this trap, and we just fall into this process. And for me, because I was a driven person who wanted to do well, it was, for me, starting a business was like, right, let's start a business, let's do this. And before I know it, I was working 80 hours a week, had 50 employees, and my stress levels were through the roof. And yeah, I was earning a bit of money, but I wasn't happy. And so once it come to selling it, and I had time to reflect, and I was like, all right, cool, I can now dedicate myself to YouTube. I just couldn't be bothered, and I thought about making videos, and I just couldn't be fucked. And I thought to myself, well, what's the point? You've worked all this time, you've put yourself through all of this stress, and you finally got an opportunity to chill out. Just let yourself chill out. Take your foot off the gas and just relax for a couple of months and just reassess. So I consciously made the decision to go against the way that I've always lived my life, and I consciously and purposefully decided to not do anything that was essentially striving me forward. I let myself chill. I didn't put any pressure on myself, and I gave myself some time to relax, and it's been one of the best things that I could have possibly done. And the main reason I wanted to make this video today is because I feel like so many of us out there, we're just constantly trying to reassure ourselves that what we're doing is enough, that we're earning enough money, that we have a good enough job, that we're just in line with where we think we should be at this point in our lives. And as I said a minute ago, we're surrounded by perfection and famous people, and we see the best of everything on Instagram, online, on YouTube, and we constantly grade ourselves based off of that exceptional level. And unfortunately, that's just one version of success and being exceptional. It's and sadly it causes a lot of us to just constantly feel like we're not good enough. And we are good enough. And at the end of the day, we have to look after ourselves, give ourselves time to relax. We have to allow our minds to just be, and to not constantly put so much pressure on ourselves all the time. And like I said, I've had a life of doing that. I've had a whole life, 32 years of constantly needing to drive forward, and constantly needing to feel like I'm enough, and constantly needing to just be enough in my own mind and meet my own expectations. But a lot of the time, where have those expectations even come from? We have to ask ourselves that. But yeah, so here I am, back, rested, ready to go, excited, and really looking forward to what the future is going to bring for myself. And if there's anybody out there that feels the same as me, and you always feel like you need to be pushing forward, and you're always giving yourself a hard time if you feel like you're not being enough, just chill the fuck out, man. We're living life to be enjoyed, and if you're not enjoying it, what's the point? What's the point in putting yourself through ridiculous amounts of stress and pressure for money, or to make yourself feel good enough all the time? Assess your expectations of yourself, figure out what you're doing and why. Take some time to reflect, and I guarantee you it'll probably be one of the best things you could ever do. And just know that you are enough, even if you want to. There's nothing wrong with being ambitious. There's nothing wrong with being driven. It's an admirable quality, and all power to you. There's no point in having blind drive for the sake of drive, and chasing bright shiny objects up a hill, trying to fill up your bank account, and just because it's going to maybe make you feel better. But I can tell you that for a fact it won't. So yeah, hopefully you got some value out of this. It's kind of just a bit of a rambly on video, but it was something that's been close to my heart and what I've been going through recently, and just wanted to share. So yeah, like I said, back in for the ride now, and I'll be back posting regular videos, and really looking forward to what this what this will bring for me, and hopefully I can give value to you guys as well. So thanks very much for tuning in, and I'll catch you soon.